Okay, so it's starting to get a little bit warm here in Ontario, Canada, which means it's springtime. Naturally, as spring goes, a lot of people typically do a good chunk of spring cleaning, which is sort of what I'm going to be kind of doing today. Now, every spring or so, I like to do, naturally the big deep clean that a lot of people like to do in their homes. And for me, I like to do a bit of a desk setup refresh each time, just to keep things a little bit fresh, I guess is the word. Now, for me at least, I spend an absolutely ridiculous amount of time here in my basement, particularly at my desk setup. Whether that's going to be for my day job, working on YouTube videos. And then of course, there's always the decompression that I like to do at the end of a long day, whether that's, media, gaming, or reading, or whatever else. And honestly, now that we're sort of, 1/3 through 2025, I figured I'd give a bit of an update for my New Year's resolution, which has probably been the easiest New Year's resolution I've ever had to do. If you haven't been following the channel for a bit, hi, welcome. My New Year's resolution this year has literally to be an absolute slob. Whereas I don't want to work myself into oblivion. I'm not trying to be a workaholic this year. And I've been really, truly trying to focus on slowing down in general entirely. Whether that be, gaming for the fun of gaming and not just to make videos about gaming, to actually relax, watch shows. I started reading and all the fun stuff that goes with relaxing. So that's been sort of my goal for this year, and it's never been better actually. Now, huge thanks to Vernal for sponsoring a portion of today's video, because they did send out a good chunk of stuff for this refresh of my desk setup. Now with that, I do need to get a little bit of cleaning done in this space real quick and start building up this desk as well as the accessories. So I'm gonna dive into my vinyl records, gaming, shows, media, and whatever's inside my setup as well. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, so now that I have everything in this desk setup all set up and ready to go, I can confidently say this thing is pretty much near perfect. Now there might be some smaller things I might want to add to this little corner over time, but really there's not much space left in this area, because this whole corner of my basement is actually pretty tiny to begin with. But if anything, it might just be a little bit more artwork, and that's about it. Now, to start talking about the actual desk setup itself, I want to start with the desk, mainly because this thing is actually pretty bonkers. And this would be my first actual solid wood desk. And the quality is definitely there if you haven't had a solid wood desk in the past. And of course, my aging millennial back is going to benefit massively from the sit stand functions, which are awesome. And that actually pairs well with my Apple Watch, because this thing actually bugs me once every single hour to stand up and actually move around a bit. So yeah, that actually pairs incredibly well for standing at least once an hour for a couple minutes. And the sit stand functions on this desk are actually pretty awesome. This goes as low as about 26 inches and up to 49 inches. I actually wasn't able to push this thing to the max because my huge monitor here was actually hitting the shelf above this. So yeah, it gets really high. But yeah, even when this thing is all the way at the top, the desk is actually really sturdy, which I appreciate, mainly because I got a lot of stuff on here, and the last thing I need is for any of this stuff topple off or fall off or whatever. So I'll leave a little clip of me wobbling this at full extension. And yeah, it does a great job. It's pretty solid. Separately from that, what I've always appreciated in any desk setup is a desk shelf. Now this one does come separately if you want to pick that up, but this is a matching desk shelf, and I've always had a desk shelf, and I appreciate the different levels it gives to your setup. For me at least, I usually like to have my monitor on the desk shelf itself, and I might just have some other things underneath or tucked away. In this case, I have this little tray here that I can put, I don't know, any sort of knickknacks in there, or otherwise I can put a keyboard underneath or a laptop or something or other. It just adds some more verticality to the setup, and I really appreciate that for the organization aspect. From a weight standpoint too, I got quite a bit on here that's actually pretty heavy. Now this desk actually can hold up to 125 kilograms, or what is that, 270 something pounds, 275 pounds, I think. When it comes down to this desk, at least there is a good mix of different sizes, and even an L-shaped option if that's something that you're into. And depending on which option you pick, this does start at around 389 bucks or so. Plus the first 200 orders will get a free desk mat and a solid wood tray. So yeah, if you do want to check this out, I will have a link down below. as well as a little discount code for 6% off. So yeah, thank you for now for sponsoring this portion of today's video. Now, as for how I actually use this desk setup, the first thing I want to sort of talk about is my PC gaming, because I've recently been leaning more into PC gaming over console as of recently, mainly because PlayStation actually upped their PlayStation Plus subscription, whatever the hell it's called, and it's almost hard to justify it at this point. So I'm at a crossroads whether I keep digging down on my consoles, which I've loved, or going back into PC full time. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about these crazy price increases. It's like 3 times the cost as a couple years ago. But anyways, right now I am using an RTX 4090 pre-built from Alienware, which people love to make fun of me for using a pre-built, but honestly, I don't have the technical know-how anymore. At least I used to build my PCs. I'm sort of washed up when it comes down to building, so I just let the professionals take care of it, and they got a good warranty. So I do use an RTX 4090 pre-built, and honestly, it covers me for any and all gaming I could ever imagine. Accessory-wise, I will say as well, this is the first time I've ever used an undermounted PC, which is awesome. So whenever I do raise this desk up, the PC comes with it very well, including the cables, which I really appreciate. And if I'm not mistaken, this is actually better for performance on the PC. Not that I'm really pushing it all too crazy, but in terms of thermals, it's not going to be, stuck against the ground. It should be able to get some more airflow, which is awesome. And honestly, I just really like the way it looks. This is my first time having an undermounted PC, so I really do dig it. In terms of games right now, though, I'm really into my World of Warcraft, which I won't shut the hell up about. I've talked about that over like my last 2 or 3 videos. I'll probably stop talking about it now, but that game's just fun. It's one of those games that I haven't played in 5 years or so. So it's just one of those games that I can hop into and not get mad. Like when I play Rivals and get dunked on by these crazy 12-year-olds that are really flipping good, mind you. Speaking of which, Rivals is another game that I love to play on here. Now, this monitor actually has a 330 hertz mode, which is great for my FPS games. I absolutely love that. I just click a button on the bottom here. The resolution takes a small hit, but other than that, 330 hertz is awesome for those fast-paced games. Otherwise, this does have 165 hertz, and this is LG's 5K2K OLED monitor, which I just reviewed. And this thing is absolutely crazy. In terms of the screen size, honestly, 45 inches is absolutely massive. And when it comes down to my creation work, my editing timelines go massive on this display. Other than that, my games are going to look incredible. It has a lot of options where I can sort of change the different aspect ratios and stuff. So it's like having 8 monitors in one. I said that in my original review, and that holds strong. This thing is absolutely crazy. Not to mention the speakers on here for monitor speakers are absolutely impressive. So yeah, well done LG on this display. This is probably going to be my main one going forward. Now, as a console player, I can say that ultra wide on consoles doesn't mix well at all. So luckily this does, again, like I mentioned, have aspect ratios you can swap. So this I can change to 16:9 at 37 inches in 4K, which is totally badass. And honestly, for me, after a long day, my favorite thing to do is game. And more recently, it's been more PC than anything, but PlayStation typically has been my go-to, and I just find it more relaxing. I'm not sure if that's a controller thing, game selection thing, mental thing, but I really just love playing my game consoles on here, so I'm happy the monitor is well supported. But yeah, whether that's my PlayStation 5 Pro or my Xbox Series X, I just find it more relaxing, and I don't know why, but I'm lucky enough to have both in this setup, which I really do appreciate. But yeah, either way, 4K at up to 120 hertz, depending on the game I'm playing, still super awesome. And I really appreciate that, despite still having a beastly PC at least. But yeah, when it comes down to the controller and stuff, I always have the controller mounted on the wall here next to my PlayStation Portal, which I'll touch on. But I just think it looks cool. I like it. It's readily available here, and these mounts on the wall were I don't know, maybe 10 or 12 bucks or something. So definitely awesome to have. Separately from that, of course, I just have some artwork. I have a framed iPhone 5 because the iPhone 5 was my favorite iPhone of all time. And that kind of makes me sound like an Apple fanboy, but it just looks cool. That's literally it. I'm not like a devotee to Apple. I'm not even using an iPhone. I'm using the Light Phone 3 right now because I love my dumb phones. But yeah, I do have a framed iPhone 5 because it just flippin' looks cool. Now, separately from that, of course, my artwork that I was talking about, I got these prints from Sand Grain Studios. They're actually pretty flippin' pricey, but I love my Blink-182 and I love my Mac Miller, so that's what I have there, and I really do dig it. The prints are thick. They're high quality. They are pricey though. But yeah, they seem to have all the prints you'd ever want. Again, if you want to pay the price, they are high quality and I really do dig them. Now, as for the PlayStation Portal, this thing doesn't get as much use nowadays, but I love the PlayStation Portal, especially as a dad. If there's times where, I want to ignore my kids while still being with them, if that makes sense. The PlayStation Portal is key to being able to get some gaming, and I love this thing. Again, it kind of sucks PlayStation bumped up the price for PlayStation Plus because streaming games, that thing was badass, but I'm just not sure if I can pay that price anymore. We'll see. Now, outside of gaming, if I don't want to be an absolute slob and degenerate, despite that being my goal this year, which I'll talk about closer to the end of the video, What I use for all of my creation work lately is a mix actually between my M3 Ultra Mac Studio, which I just got. I haven't even really talked about this thing much. It's just so flippin' powerful. I love that machine. That's my main power horse for when I'm actually sitting at this desk setup and working. But when I do have a project on the go, I will actually change my project over to my M4 MacBook Air. This is probably my favorite MacBook of all time. For once I got the sky blue, which sort of looks silver, if I'm honest. But honestly, this monitor has a Type-C port with, 90 watts power delivery. So, you know, if I want to plug this in and take a project on the go, it's easy to sort of put it down there and bring it upstairs, bring it anywhere else I need to go for traveling. And I really do dig the M4 MacBook Air. This is probably the machine anybody and everybody could get used to. You can run, I could technically run my entire YouTube channel off of this M4 MacBook Air, and it is wildly powerful. Love it. But separately from that, despite that being my recommendation, the M3 Ultra is absolutely absurd in terms of its performance. Love that machine. That's going to be my forever machine pretty much, if I'm honest. Now, what I do use when I'm gaming or doing any sort of productivity, my mouse, I have two. I do have this Razer Naga V2 Hyperspeed. Relax, that is a long ass name. The V2 Hyperspeed, great for MMOs. If anybody else is a WoW player, you know what I mean. Other than that, the mouse that everybody flipping uses, the MX Master 3. This is the 3S. I don't know the difference between the 3 and the 3S, but this is a good mouse. It has a side scroll wheel, editing, professional work, anything you need. This thing does the job. As for the keyboard, you know what? Melgeek just sent me a new one. Right now I'm using this NuFi keyboard, but actually Melgeek just sent me a new one. I think I'm gonna try that now, actually. Where is it? Okay, I found it. It's this is the Melgeek O2, and we're gonna sound test this thing together. This is a low profile keyboard, and I love my low profile keyboards. Similar to the sit-stand desk that saves my back, low profile keyboards help keep my millennial wrists in check. It's thinner than I thought. Nice. You ready for a sound test? Oof. Okay, I kind of dig that. But yeah, simply from that, I usually typically have some sort of desk mat because it just helps break up the space a bit. I love using a desk mat sort of as a mouse pad as well, whether that be for gaming or just having it in general for better mouse usage. But a desk mat is just aesthetically pleasing, and I just have always used them for the last couple years or so. So definitely always a must-have for me. Beyond that, I usually have some sort of iPad in my setup. Right now, my go-to is probably the iPad Mini 7. I actually do have an M4 iPad Pro, but honestly, the iPad Mini 7 for me is just the way to go in terms of the size to performance. It's perfect for note-taking. I recently got into coloring as well, so it's really, really good for those sort of things. As well, sometimes I just use it as like a clock or for music, for videos, whatever the case is. I like just having an iPad in my setup, and I have this tiny matching wood stand, which is really, really good for that. Now, I've also mentioned this before, but I never use the big lights in my basement. It's always gonna be small lights, so that's gonna be, you know, lamps. I have these everywhere. You guys see them in like every flipping video. These tiny lamps, they come in a pair. I think they're maybe like 40 or 50 bucks. Definitely awesome for pretty much everything. They just set a good ambience as well. I do have an IKEA lamp here. I don't know what the hell it's called, but I will see if I can find a link for it. But beyond that, I do have my BenQ light bar. This thing I use a ton every day as well. It helps just illuminate my desk space. Which you can change the color, temperature, the brightness. I love this light bar. I've had this for a couple of years now. But beyond that, I do have some Govee lights that sort of give a colorful vibe, if that makes any sense at all. And I can control that through my iPad, which is really good. The red light that you see here around the edge of my desk is actually a TV backlight. It just works well on desks. I always put it on the edge of whichever desk I have, and I can change the color, brightness, all that fun stuff, and it works really well. But yeah, that's the desk setup. It's almost as perfect as I could ever want it to be. Between, you know, the artwork and everything that I have in here, it's just sort of a good way to sort of showcase a bit of my personality. It's functional and somewhat minimal. I'm a wannabe minimalist, really. I've said that a couple times as well. And I just like the way the setup looks. It's functional. It's the perfect spot for me to sort of just decompress. And yeah, while it's not particularly a part of the desk setup itself, I do want to talk about what's behind my desk, which is actually a bookshelf that I use for all my vinyl records. Over the last year or so, I've really gotten into physical media collection. And right now, for me, at least, that's going to be my vinyl records. I absolutely love them. I'm one of those weirdos that seems to love every genre of music. And right now, I'm into soul and R&B music. I actually got a record, came in. I just found out about these guys, the Sacred Souls, and I've been playing this on repeat. This is I haven't opened this up yet because it just came in, and I've really been playing this whole album on repeat. It's just a bunch of young dudes that sound like they're out of the 70s, and it's a dope-ass record. So I'm gonna open this one later, but yeah, incredible record if you guys haven't heard this one yet. But yeah, in terms of my vinyl setup, honestly, that bookshelf sometimes becomes a bit of a junky catch-all, which is why it also got a bit of a reset compared to this. Now, that is primarily just going to be cleaning the hell out of it because that's all it really needs. There's not much you can put on a bookshelf, but some of my favorite things are on there. In terms of my actual vinyl player, I am using something from Audio-Technica. Don't even know what the model number is, and I'm not even sure if it's a good one. It just had a hell of a lot of reviews on Amazon, so I picked it up. If somebody can let me know, is this thing considered entry level? And if so, what would I upgrade to? And would that even make a difference? But yeah, I absolutely love my vinyl player. It's just one of those things where whether I'm gaming, coloring, vibing out on my couch, I'm usually throwing on some sort of music, and I really, really dig it. Apart from that, for the speakers, I am using some Kanto U4s. Love those speakers. I've had them in my desk setups in the past a ton, but between, you know, monitors having the speakers as good as they are now, I threw that into my vinyl setup, and it's been absolutely great. They sound awesome, they get loud, and they can connect to a whole ton of things, so I really, really love those Kanto U4s. Beyond that, while trying to keep this bookshelf from being too junky, I still do have some keyboards on here that I might have in rotation, or otherwise some batteries I'm charging up and stuff, which is always nice to have. Separate to that, of course, next to my vinyls, I actually have a flippin' projector, which you guys have probably seen in almost every single one of my videos over the last couple months. I always have some sort of artwork projected on the wall from this projector. This is the JM Go N1S Ultimate, if I'm not mistaken. And this thing is a beast of a projector, honestly. And yeah, for me, I'll either have some NPR Tiny Desk performances up, some artwork, or otherwise I will just use it for music through Spotify or something, which is really good while I'm working. It is definitely totally overkill to have a projector for just that, but it is definitely a good way to set the atmosphere down here, and I really, really appreciate having it. But yeah, that's the setup between, you know, my vinyls and my desk setup. For me, it's near perfect for whatever I'm doing. Honestly, as somebody who's previously spent an unhealthy amount of time working, having a space like this to sort of decompress and relax is pretty much everything I need. Now that's the setup, but I'm just sort of going to talk about sort of how my nights typically look in this space, what I'm usually doing. Really, honestly, it's kind of boring. It's kind of mundane, but you know what? It's a healthy mix of getting my passion projects done, my schoolwork or professional work done, and of course, all my gaming and media. Now, typically, my kids go down around 7 o'clock. So around 7, that's when I usually jump right into any sort of YouTube work, whether that be editing, preparing my next video, filming, mainly because I'll still have the most remaining energy at 7 o'clock, despite usually being flippin' tired, but that's when I get all my YouTube work done. After that, I typically love to throw down some games, maybe around 8 o'clock, 8:30 or so. I'll make myself a nice hot coffee and just throw down games. Again, as mentioned, that is my perfect favorite way to decompress. By then, honestly, I'm usually pretty flippin' tired, so I'm not really pushing any competitive games. I'm usually probably going to play something like Marvel Rivals in quick play or something, or some WoW Dungeons or something. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, some nights I might, you know, finish my night off gaming in full, or sometimes I might, you know, watch a show. If I'm settled at my desk, I'll just watch a show here. The OLED monitor is bonkers for TV shows and stuff. Otherwise, I'll probably hop over to my TV setup to watch something. Right now, that's going to be either Invincible or Solo Leveling, which I've been really enjoying. And yeah, honestly, that's my night, as boring and mundane as it can sound. That's typically each of my evenings, and sometimes it might change. Sometimes I might not game at all. Sometimes I might game entirely. And other times it could just be, you know, vibing out, listening to music while coloring, or even just reading, which I started doing recently. But yeah, I'd love to know what you guys do to sort of slow down and relax in the evenings, especially for people who watch my video. I'm legitimately curious. But that's pretty much it in terms of my setup, my vinyls, and how my evenings look. If anybody has any questions about the setup, I will have everything linked down below, of course. Thank you for Nal again for sending out these awesome accessories in the desk itself. That'll also be linked down below with a little discount code. I always appreciate you guys watching till the end. Till next time.